Hi there, I'm Dr. Mary Travelbest, and I've recently returned from a 90-day journey across the world. Actually, north to south, so that's up and down around the world. And I'm excited to connect with people like you who want to talk travel. I'm going to be telling you today about Haarlem, Netherlands, and Haarlem is spelled with 2 A's. But first, a listener story spotlight. This feature is about Melvin. He was a university student of mine about 20 years ago and lives in Amsterdam. He was one of those students who you knew would be a success in life because he was so curious. He was not always on time for class, but he was always attentive once there. Now, he's been inviting me to come to Amsterdam for years, and finally, I decided to make a stop there. It wasn't planned, and it is a confidence booster for you here as a listener, because what I want to share is that being curious, like Melvin, is what makes a person more likely to succeed. So keep your curiosity growing, like Melvin. And now a quick fire FAQ. My friend Lainey asked me, how did you choose your destinations when you traveled around the world? Thanks for asking. I'm going to answer you, Lainey. I had hopes of traveling from south to north around the world, and I used various digital tools such as Skyscanner, Google Flights, and my Capital One travel points. And I used them to find the best pricing options for other destinations. Maybe they weren't on my list right away. I also used a flat and a round map. The round one was a globe. The flat one was on the wall. And I looked at the destinations. I have sticky notes on the maps, so I can see the path. One example was to get to Bogota. The cheapest and most direct flight for me from San Diego was Chicago, not Miami. So I flew to Bogota from O'Hare Airport near Chicago. I also like Chicago because I lived there for 10 years and have lots of friends still. Now the 60-second confidence challenge for you. So getting sleep, that's what this is about. Confidence and getting sleep is so important. So if you travel infrequently, jet lag is unlikely to be a common factor. But jet lag is a temporary sleep disorder from crossing multiple time zones. What's the best way to develop a sense of reliance on jet lag and build confidence in your understanding of it? Well, you just need to know 3 things: caffeine, sleep, and sunlight. And if you can determine the destination time, you can start adjusting your timetable a couple of days in advance. Get equipped with a jet lag app in advance. That will add confidence. I even created a GPT about jet lag, and it was pretty easy. So if you like today's confidence challenge, read my first book in the 5 Steps series, the A book, which dives deeper into the quality sleeping and jet lag and how to build confidence. There's a link in the description. So Book A addresses this challenge, and you can get it on the website or Amazon. Now let's talk about the destination, which is Haarlem, Netherlands. It's a Dutch city that's often overshadowed by Amsterdam, but has just as much charm and far fewer crowds. I'm talking about Haarlem. It's only 15 minutes by train from Amsterdam, and it's so easy, and it's a quiet alternative for solo travelers like you. What you'll love is the slower pace, historic streets, and safe, flat, walkable layout, making it ideal for mobility challenges with a big square right in the middle of Haarlem. Haarlem's train station, I found, it's really historic. It's brick. And about a block away, when I was walking from there, I found this double-decker bike rack. It was genius. It's a growing trend, so I've got a link with a video on how this works. I was walking to the Grote Markt, which I will mention later. It was about a 10-minute walk, but I took my time. I didn't have a plan for what to do when I arrived in the city by train, and sometimes that just works out best. So on the way, I found some places to stop. One was an archives, and it was in Bakkennis. It was raining a bit, so I stopped and enjoyed the break with a free entry into this archives. It hosts literary collections from 1149 to present day. What they did was repurpose a church into a research center, and it has all these exhibits, including some from the 1100s. It's the oldest church in the area. And the address is in the notes. So they had 2 exhibitions going on. Printers of Value, which was a historic printing lab. I learned about Laurens Janzoon Coster, the purported inventor of the printing press. And there's a statue also of Hadrianus Junius, the historian who recorded Coster's story. This is represented by 2 statues outside this building. Now, the other exhibit that I found was the many faces of women in the resistance during World War II. One of the exhibits had a glass case under the floor where you could look through the glass and see historical artifacts from the World War. Again, these exhibits are free of charge, and anybody was able to answer questions. They loved having visitors there. Now, at the heart of Haarlem is the Grote Markt, the main square. You'll find St. Bavo's Cathedral, which is famous for its massive organ, once played by Mozart and Handel. And a few steps away from the Grote Markt, find the Corrie ten Boom Museum in Haarlem. This former home has now been converted into a museum, about which I've heard about for 4 years, and I've been hoping to get there, and now God made that possible. So I went in and met the people in the store. I also met a family from Norway who wanted to go on that tour also, and I got a chance to help them out. So we all went on the tour, and it was a pretty amazing tour. I've actually just finished reading the book called The Hiding Place. But I will warn you, if you have mobility issues, please just take the virtual tour, as the house is relatively small and not wheelchair accessible. See the show notes. The building marks the location where Corrie ten Boom and her family helped save 800 lives during the German occupation of the Netherlands. The Hiding Place book shares some similar elements with what Anne Frank wrote about during a similar time period, but in Germany. Or maybe in different part of Netherlands, that was. And I wasn't able to get tickets to the Anne Frank Museum. So Corrie, who died in 1983, was a Christian and gave her life to God. So I'm sure this has lots of significance for those who are Christians, but also those who just want to find out more about what happened in World War II and how did Holland react. Now, I didn't have a reservation, so if you're planning your trip, please make sure to get one in advance. There were some people that waited 6 months to get in. There's no fee, and groups of up to 15 people can visit at any one time. I also found a great tea shop in Haarlem. And I don't exactly know how to pronounce it, but it's spelled Vijf, and then the second part is hook. So Vighoef. I've never seen so many teas in one shop. Now, if you like art, the Frans Heyse Museum showcases masterpieces of the Dutch Golden Age. And don't forget, Haarlem is the original tulip capital. Back in the 1600s, this city was at the center of tulip mania, and the tulip still shapes its culture today. If you've got time, you might want to rent a bike and ride out to the North Sea beaches at Zandvoort or Bloemendaal, just 30 minutes away. You might ask, is Haarlem a good alternative to staying in Amsterdam? The answer is yes. Hotels are often more affordable, it's quieter, and you can still zip into Amsterdam in under 20 minutes. Plus, Haarlem has its own distinct charm, boutique shopping, and excellent restaurants. And now my smart move and slip up pairing. A common mistake solo travelers sometimes make is thinking Haarlem is only worth a half-day trip. By leaving too early, you miss out on its evening atmosphere, the cozy cafes, the peaceful canals, and hidden hofjes or courtyards. They only reveal themselves when you slow down. Sadly, I only stayed one day, so next time I'll stay longer. And here's my 60-second confidence challenge. Read your boarding pass. Next time you get one, look and see the boarding time and think to yourself about arriving at the airport at least 2 hours before your flight, because this is kind of new. Sometimes airlines expect you to arrive at the gate ready to board 50 minutes before your departure. So my challenge is to cut down on the stress and anxiety. And now for a resources roundup. Do you know what the world's busiest airport is? It's Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson. Number 3 is also in the U.S. It's Dallas-Fort Worth. The number 2 airport is Dubai. It had a 7% increase since 2019. Others in the top 10, and I've been to all of them, include Tokyo, London, Denver, Istanbul, Chicago O'Hare, New Delhi, and Shanghai. See the notes for details and a link. How many of these airports have you been to? My guidebook, Series B book, is all about destinations, and nearly each of these cities is covered. A Woman's Guide to Destinations in Her Prime. Pick it up and find more. And here's my takeaway mantra and goodbye. Know what you want and ask for it. When you solo travel, you need to educate for yourself. If you are being bothered by someone, tell them to leave you alone. You are the ruler of your own castle. Wherever you are is home.
What's on your travel bucket list? Tell the doctor and her team of women who travel the world seeking the very best. Dr. Travelbest, that is.